Hi guys, Peter McKenzie here with Rincon Property Management. I wanted to make a video today to correspond with an article we have on Is Rincon Property Management Right for Me? So we're going to talk a little bit about how to select a property management company. And I'm here to tell you, every management company will tell you that they screen tenants, they enforce leases, they collect the rent, all those things everybody says. But what's really important? What can you do while you're evaluating management companies to figure out what's the right one for you? And it all boils down to this one thing is, do you trust or believe that the management company is going to do what they tell you they're going to do? That's it. It's not terribly complicated, but you are at a disadvantage to try to get down and dig down and find that information. So do you trust or believe that the management company is going to do what they say they're going to do? So let's talk about how you're going to figure that out. Like I said before, everybody's going to tell you all these amazing things that they're going to do, but that really doesn't mean anything because you have nothing to gauge it off of. You don't have past experience with the company. How do you find that out? So the first thing I'll tell you to do is go to their reviews, look at their Google reviews, Yelp reviews. I would say probably anybody less than 4 stars, just wipe them off the table. It's not worth your time to even consider them. Don't let those companies tell you, well, the reason we have a 2-star rating is because our tenants don't like us because we're always enforcing the lease and doing what's in the best interest of the owner. I'm here to tell you that that's more than likely not accurate, and the sign of a good management company is one who takes care of their clients and the tenants, because it's in the owner's best interest to have a happy tenant, because happy tenants take better care of properties and they also stay longer. So don't fall trap to that. So wipe out anybody less than 4 stars. You're going to narrow the field down quite a bit. You'll probably have 2 to 4 companies to pick from in our area. And then from there, you can dive into other things. Obviously, price and cost is the number one thing most people start looking at. And that is important, but that's not the only thing. So in addition to, cost, reviews, you want to reach out to the company, which obviously you're going to do a little research on your own on the internet, but eventually you're going to have to pick up the phone or send an email and reach out to them. And there's a litmus test that I use in my own personal investing, because I have out-of-state properties where I employ professional property management companies, and it's this. Reach out to the company, let them know you have a rental property and you're looking to hire a management company. Then literally time how long it takes them to get back to you. The best companies should be getting back to you in minutes, no more than an hour. If they take 3 days to get back to you, wipe them off the list, because the management company is the most responsive in the very beginning of the relationship, because you're literally picking up the phone or emailing them and saying, hey, I got a rental property. I want to give you guys my money to manage it. And if they take too long to get back to you, that's a good indicator that they are not good at communications. Being good at communications with their clients is, I can't stress it enough, it is probably the most important thing. So we take on a lot of clients from other management companies that are unhappy, and it's the number one complaint that everyone has is nobody gets in touch with me. I don't know what's going on. So if they're that way in the very beginning, I can promise you it's gonna only get worse as the relationship develops. So let's talk about some of the services. Like I was telling you before, everybody tells you the same thing. A big part of our client customer base are people that came to us from other management companies, people who were unhappy and made the decision that they were no longer satisfied with what they were getting, and they sought out Rincon and ultimately hired us to manage their property. And the number one thing that I always ask, one of the things that I always ask them is, when is the last time you personally saw the annual inspection on your rental property? And 9 times out of 10, they say, never. I've never seen an inspection. I don't know if they did it. I don't have any idea. I've never seen one. And in my mind, that is 100% unacceptable, because actively managing a property, which is what we do at Rincon Management, is built around the annual inspection. You have to go to the property. You have to get inside the property. You have to put eyes on it to see if there's anything that needs to be fixed, are the tenants taking care of the property, are there any lease violations? And when most companies, and I'm embarrassed to say most management companies don't actually do the annual inspection. It's probably the first thing to fall off the plate when they get busy. And that is a shame. So you need to ask the company when you're, doing your due diligence and figuring out who to hire is, how often do you inspect the properties? Do I get to see the inspection? I don't recommend attending the inspection, but I absolutely recommend you should see it and be kept in the loop. That's a big question. So that's one way you can dive deeper and kind of cut through the noise of what everybody says they do, when in reality, they don't actually do some of those things. The other question I suggest you ask is, will you give me a financial analysis of how my property performed each year? Because you're a real estate investor, whether you accidentally stumbled into that role because you inherited a property or you actively went out and bought a rental property, you are an investor. And part of being an investor is analyzing the numbers, knowing if your investment is performing well or if it's performing poorly or if there is a problem. At Rincon, we do an annual financial analysis of how the property performs. So we've benchmarked how much should be spent on repairs, how much should be spent replacing big ticket items, how much you should save for vacancy, what the market rate rents are. All of those figures get compiled and presented to our clients on an annual basis. And that is extremely important because it then lets you make good decisions on what to do and how to act as a landlord. Ask that question. Most companies do not do that. If they're not doing it, it means they're in less of a partnership with you and they're not as concerned about your financial well-being as they should be. Now, some of the other services we offer, obviously we screen applications. I personally believe in taking a little bit of extra time screening an application thoroughly because we can prevent getting into problems up front versus screening applications as quickly as possible and putting anybody in a property. It's a recipe for headaches down the road. So if you want to dive into how they screen applications, that might be a spot where you can ask some more questions. Probably should make a separate video on that alone because it literally is its own art form. So enforcing leases, collecting rent, a lot of that stuff's pretty self-explanatory. I think if with those few tips that I've given you on, talk about the inspection in detail, the financial analysis, and then do those tests on how well the company communicates, then you will have a really good picture of what you can expect from this company, because it has to start from a position of trust. You have to trust that the person you hire is going to do a good job, because if you're already skeptical and you hire them, it's probably not going to work out. The last thing I want to talk about is who Rincon's ideal client is. And you, as a person who's evaluating what company to hire, should also have a similar clarity in what type of company you want to hire. So I think the best way to illustrate this is really to outline who our ideal client is, and then we can talk further from that. So our ideal client is someone who is looking for a hands-off style of managing the property, who's not interested in getting into the day-to-day weeds of managing a property. So that's the first thing. The second thing is they recognize the value of their time. It's more important that they spend time doing what they do and not trying to learn something new like managing a rental property. And they understand the importance of hiring a professional management company to do that for them, because it provides leverage in their own lives where they don't have to worry about those things. The other thing that our perfect client understands is that they value a company who stays up to date on the ever-changing laws and legal issues that are placed on landlords here in California. So California is one of the hardest places to be a landlord. They literally are pumping out new laws annually, and those laws have real requirements for landlords to do. In fact, we talk to a lot of landlords here, and there's a lot of landlords who manage properties on their own. And I ask them questions like, did you disclose about this bill? Did you disclose about this one? Like right now, I can think off the top of my head, there's 3 bills that landlords actively need to take action on to be in compliance. And most of the time, the answer is no. So our ideal client values information from the management company on staying on top of these legal issues. So that is something that you should look for as well. So if those things sound good to you, then you might be a good fit for us, because ultimately when you are doing your research, you're trying to find a good fit for you. So just like you are doing your due diligence on the company, the best companies are also doing their due diligence on you. Are you a client that's going to fit well into our systems? And if you are, then that's good. But if you're not, the best companies are mature enough to not start that relationship. Because if you, let's say for example, you want to be hands-on and you want to be involved in every little detail of managing the property, I know from experience that you are not going to have a good experience at our company. So it's our job to never put the two and two together, because I know it's going to be a recipe for unhappiness. There are companies out there, or different people who manage properties, that might be more open to a hands-on kind of in the weeds relationship, just not ours. So just like you are evaluating companies, the best companies should be evaluating you and seeing if everybody's a good fit. The last thing that our ideal client values, and really it's probably the most important thing, is effective communication. So sometimes we even over communicate, but communication is one of our core values. We keep our clients in the loop. Now, that's important, and we talked about that in the beginning of the video, because if you're not in the loop, your mind's going to wander and go, well, I don't ever hear from them. What are they doing? Are they doing what they said they were going to do? Are they managing the property? Are there problems I don't know about? Which is why being an effective communicator and over communicating is one of our core values, which is something that should be important to you as well. I wanted to wrap up the video by saying thank you for watching it. If you have any questions, feel free to reach out to us. If you found the content valuable, please like and subscribe to our YouTube page. We produce a lot of content that a lot of landlords find valuable. Thank you.